All right, guys, week 3, Intro to Human Resources. Let's get into it. Okay, so employee turnover. We're going to talk about a few different things in this slide. The first one, obviously, being employee turnover. So, what is employee turnover? Context of human resources. Turnover is the act of replacing an employee with a new employee. Okay, so partings between organizations and employees may consist of termination, retirement, death, resignations, transfers. Employee turnover refers to the number or percentage of workers who leave an organization and are replaced by new employees. Okay, measuring employee turnover can be helpful to employers that want to examine reasons for turnover or estimate the cost to hire for budget purposes. Okay, so basically what we're saying here is, like we just said, employee turnover is trying to figure out how many employees from, for example, let's say 10 employees that were hired, how many actually stayed on with the company within, let's say, a year, right? Now, if a company is having issues always trying to find people, trying to find new talent all the time because talent keeps leaving, this is where they would kind of look at the employee turnover rate, right? This is where it would come into effect. So how do you calculate employee turnover? So basically, we'll just jump right to the example. So basically, if you had an average of 140 employees working during a month's time, and 26 employees leave, your turnover rate would be around 18.6%, right? So 26, you're just looking for the percentage, right? So 26 out of the 140, so 26 divided by 140. This is basic math, right? And to get the percentages, multiply by 100. So do not include temporary hires or employees who go on temporary leave, right? So you won't have to do that. That's pretty common sense. Okay, voluntary versus involuntary turnovers. So a voluntary turnover is any instance in which an employee actively chooses to leave. This can happen as a result of better job opportunities elsewhere. So you look at it in two different ways, right? You look at the if you're look at the employee turnover, you look at either is it voluntary or is it involuntary. So voluntary means they just left on their own, right? And remember, if you are calculating turnover with a single team or department, turnover have to be employees of the organization. Okay, so basically, voluntary turnover is when an employee chooses to leave. Involuntary turnover is when an employer chooses to terminate the employee. Okay, so if you're the company, you chose to terminate or fire those people, then that would be involuntary turnover, right? So because of poor performance, toxic behaviors, or other reasons. So turnover is natural for any organization. Happens in my organization quite often at the plant. We have a lot of different welders coming and going. I think trying to figure out why that's happening is more important than always trying to find new things, right? New people. They say in sales, we say that um, it's so much more expensive to try and find a new client, to try and find new customers versus just keeping existing customers happy, right? So that's kind of what's happening at my plant right now. The company that I work for, we had a lot of people that came and left. They didn't want to stay, and they're high class welders, like really experienced welders, but for some reason they didn't want to stay with us. So um, we are now trying to work on figuring out why, right, at our company. So long story short, voluntary versus involuntary means voluntary means the employee left by himself. Involuntary means you have to fire him or something happened. So what causes employee turnover? Okay, so why would an employee not want to stay with your company? Okay, so trying to analyze those facts, trying to analyze the data. There's a bunch of different things that could happen with an employee that could make them not want to stay with a company. So, sorry guys, it's late. Okay, lack of opportunity for growth or career development. Okay, so a person or employee feels like, damn, I am not getting what I thought I'd be getting, right? I'm not getting to the place and the point in my career that I'm trying to get to. I don't think I'll be able to get to it with by staying at this company. I got to jump ship. Natural career progression, right? They just naturally grow into different roles and stuff, right? So they're like, you know what? They just grow out of the company because they become too big for the company or too good for the company. Internal promotion or transfer. Um, yeah, we all know what that is. Feeling overworked or burnt out. We all feel this at times. Negative feelings towards boss or management. I'm sure a lot of people have felt like this. If you never worked, then you probably have seen it with, let's say, like maybe at times your parents or your older siblings. You feel negative feelings towards them because they're not letting you do what you want, or they're taking something from you or whatever. Toxic work environment. When you're in a toxic work environment, it's a place where people are together, they're working together, but it's just a negative vibe. The best way to explain toxicity, a toxic relationship, or a toxic company that to work for, or a toxic work environment, is when you walk. Is like the easiest way for me to explain it is if you walk into the room, how do you feel? Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel like everyone around you is just negative and not really, they don't really like each other. They're just there because they're there. Stuff like that, right? That's toxic work environment. Family or life event, or sometimes people become, women get pregnant, or a family member passes away, or something happens where they have to leave. A competitive offer, we see this a lot. People just get better offers from different companies and they leave. Lack of work-life balance, too much work, not enough play, makes people not want to stay. Involuntary departure. So that is what we're talking about. Involuntary versus voluntary, right? Involuntary is when people are fired. Okay. Signs your best employees are about to quit. Okay, so let's just say that your company's running well, your sales are coming in, everything's going as you wanted it to go. Your numbers are high, everything's good, but then you start to see, you know, you look at your salesperson, you start to see some signs in that salesperson that are showing, hey, he's losing interest. The guy who brings us all the sales, while we sit back and relax, he's losing interest in the business. What should we do? So signs your best employees are about to quit. Okay, so spike in online profiles. Basically, what we're saying here is you can go and check their LinkedIn, right? If their LinkedIn is showing accepting new roles, or you see if they're trying to update their LinkedIn in a way where they're trying to present themselves to a different company. Like it happens all the time. People always fix up their LinkedIns and stuff like that to try and become more valuable to seen as more valuable to a company, right? So stuff like that. Attending conferences, frequent excuses to make personal calls. I mean, this is why I don't like to work for typical organizations, because where I work, I attend conferences, I take personal calls all the time. I experience major life change. I complain. I do all that stuff, but I don't leave. I'm not leaving. That's not like my goal is not to leave. I'm there. So these are pretty generic signs, right? Um, And I don't. That's why I don't like these. I don't like companies, corporations like that, because they don't allow people to take personal calls. Like, what the hell? I take as many personal calls as I want to. I can take 100 million personal calls a day. No one can say anything to me. But in this situation, if you're working for a corporation, you can't just walk out and take a personal call whenever you want. So it's a little weird. Anyways, so signs your best employees are about to quit. So they're walking outside the room and saying, "Hey, can I use the phone, please, sir?" Experiencing major life change happens to a lot of people. People passing away, and family members passing away, people hitting puberty, having a baby. A lot of different things. Starts complaining. You just, man, you guys don't know how to do your job. You guys don't, and this business is horrible. Stuff like that. I've heard all of it, and I've said it a lot of times too. But you stay. You don't have to leave. But I mean, if someone's complaining, then there's signs that they're about to quit, I guess. Um, Loses a close friend or coworker. But this is not talking about loses as in like someone passes away. You're talking about if someone actually leaves the company. So a lot of times people work at companies just so they can, just because their friends are working at those companies and they want to have a good time with their friends and stuff like that. Becomes isolated, right? If the person is just like by himself all the time and friction among employees, he starts fighting. He or she starts fighting and being mean towards employees. Reassigns tasks to others and reduced output, right? Those are pretty straightforward, simple signs that your best employees are about to quit. All right, so we're going to jump, after talking about all that employee stuff, we're going to jump into this goal setting type of thing for your business, okay? 10 steps to help your business achieve its goals. So first, you break down company goals. What goals do we want to achieve? What are the goals? Let's break them all down. Then you track your goals' progress. All right, so we're working on our goals. How are they coming along? Commit to company's goals. You have to commit, guys. You have to commit. It's like a diet, right? You can't say, all right, I'm going to get on a diet and then go on a diet for a day or two and then, completely stop your diet and then think in 30 days, hey, how come I'm still fat? Literally, that's the story of my life. Build company support system. Have people around you who are like-minded who want to crush those goals. Stay flexible with company goals. Things can change, so you should be able to change with it. Keep an eye on end goal. Accept companies' imperfections. A lot of companies have imperfections. It's good to accept them, and then what happens when you accept them? You get to work on them. Right? First, you realize, okay, this is my weakness, and I have now accepted it. Now, what can I do to fix it? Now, don't stop adjusting the goals. Think positively about the company's goals and celebrate every goal success. So those are 10 steps to help your business achieve its goals. So if you guys have a business, follow these 10 steps and you will be successful. Employee working conditions. Working conditions are the demands, environment, and terms of a job that influence the satisfaction of employees. Firms may compete to offer attractive conditions as a means to attract and retain talent. The law in many areas defines a minimum set of working conditions that employees must provide. Employers. The law in many areas defines a minimum set of working conditions that employers must provide. Not employees, employers. The following are the most common. So these are the type of working conditions, right? So when employees are looking at a company and they're working at a company, this is the type of working conditions they look at, right? Hygiene factors, right? Like, are they working in a place that is poorly cleaned, poorly ventilated, stuff like that, right? So is it clean, basically? Health and safety, right? Do you have health and safety? Remuneration, right? Remuneration is basically this is a really big way of saying how to get paid, basically. Paying someone, receiving payment, I guess, giving payment. So remuneration is how much you're getting paid, stuff like that. That's another working condition. Profit sharing. Some companies offer profit sharing, like Tesla. If you're an employee, they give you profit. They give you shares in the company. Employee benefits. Guys, we know all this stuff, man. Responsibility and accountability, workload, work schedule, occupational stress, work-life balance, commuting and travel, autonomy, controls, organizational culture, performance management, job security, employment terms. This is all self-explanatory stuff. I don't have to go over all this. So these are the employee working conditions that employees look for, basically. Okay, what are some ways to motivate your employees, right? You got employees that are leaving. You got employees that are sad. You think they're leaving. How do you motivate them? Okay, so you make your business a pleasant place to be. Wow. that's so difficult to comprehend. You want to make your business a pleasant place to be. Be a respectful, honest, and supportive manager. Honesty. Offer employee rewards, kind of like when you have a puppy and the puppy does something good, just throw them a cookie. Give room to grow. Show them, right? Don't just leave them hanging in a little box. Show them there's more out there for them. They can grow. Share positive feedback. If they did something good, send an email to everybody in the company and say, "Wow, look, Chandar Mohan just got hit his sales goals for the year," and then the whole company be like, "Wow, that's so great," but really internally they're all super jealous, right? But in real life in real life they're just like texting and emailing saying, "Wow, this is good job." Be transparent, right? People should look right to be able to look right through you, right? Just like you're looking through glass. So just basically be glass. Offer flexible scheduling. Offer food in the workplace, right? So if people are there's when you come to work, you should go, when people come to work, offer them chutney, biryani, korma, butter chicken, naan, right? It's good stuff. It's a good way to motivate your employees. Recognize achievements and ask what they want. All right, end of slides. 16 minutes of your time. There you go. Hopefully you guys learned something. See you guys in class.